Ow! God, I thought that would look cool if I headbutted the drawer and it closed. Just cut. Roll the intro. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how I build cabinet drawers. Now, in part one of this build series, we went over how to build cabinet carcasses. Part two was building the face frame. And now finally, for part three, we're going to build a cabinet drawer. I will also show you the steps that I take to install this cabinet drawer in a cabinet. So if this is something that interests you, stick around and let's get to work. Alright guys and girls, hopefully I got some females out there watching the channel, but first thing you want to do is measure the depth of your cabinet box. This will also give you the length of your drawer and the length of your drawer slides that you need. And for this instance, I'm using 22-inch drawer slides, and yeah, they go right there. I think that's pretty much self-explanatory. But now, as you can see from this clip, the cabinet face frame overhangs the carcass to the inside, so we need to cut some spacer blocks to build it out to make the drawer slides even with the face frame. It's a good idea here to go ahead and take measurements. I like to do it on each part of the face frame just to make sure there's no inconsistencies when I'm cutting these spacer blocks. You're pretty much just double checking your work and making sure you haven't made an error. Now, if you followed along in my build series in part 1 and part 2, the cabinet face frame overhangs the inside by 1/2 inch. I happen to have some 1/2 inch plywood laying around, so I was able just to cut the pieces that I need. Now, once again, you can measure the depth of your cabinet, and this will give you the length of these spacer blocks or filler strips that you would need. Now here I am just cutting them in half, and usually I like to make these 2 to 2.5 inches. It usually just depends on the size of the drawer slide, but 2.5 inches you'll be completely fine. Now that your pieces are cut, you should have 6 total. There'll be 2 for each drawer. For the next step, we want to install our filler strips, but in order to do that, we need to go ahead and cut some spacer blocks out of some scrap wood. And in order to get that measurement, we need to measure from the bottom of the cabinet to the top of the rails. And if it doesn't make sense, just hold on, I'll show you, I promise. Just keep watching. See, I told you I'd show you. Now that you have your spacer block cut, you can stick it in your cabinet and make sure it's flush to the bottom, pulled all the way tight to your face frame, and it should line up to the top of your rail, just like so. Now that everything is looking good, you can go ahead and put glue on your filler strips and go ahead and tack them in place. Now I'm just going to use a pin nailer because the glue eventually, once it dries, will hold and everything will be fine. But you can use screws, a brad nailer, or however you want to fasten it in there, but I just typically use pin nails and it works fine for me. And once you get that one fastened in, you can go ahead and move to the other side with the same spacer block and do the same thing. Once you get the 2 top ones fastened in, we can go ahead and measure for the next one. Now, I usually use the same spacer block, usually just cut it down. That's why I always start at the top and work my way down. That way I can always cut away what I don't need. But you can cut multiple spacer blocks, it's up to you. If you're going to continue to build cabinets and all your cabinets are going to be the same drawers and stuff like that, it's probably best to just cut multiple pieces and have them on hand for when you continue to build multiple cabinets. And now that we have the middle row complete, I usually just take the spacer block, flip it right over because I know my face frame overhangs my bottom of my cabinet by 3/4 of an inch. And like I said, I just flip it over, lay it on top, and just fasten this one in as well. Well, here's where I made a little mistake. I should have installed my drawer slide before I cut my spacer block, so I did have to cut another one. So lucky for you, you can watch the video and see where I made a mistake, and you can learn from it and not do what I did. So yeah, anyway, I cut another spacer block, and now I can rest my drawer slide on it and go ahead and fasten that one in as well. And I'm gonna do the same thing for the other side, and you'll see. Just watch, roll the clips, let's go. Now, I didn't show you how to do the other drawer slides, but they're the same as the ones you just watched me do, so I think you can handle that. Now we want to measure for our drawer height. And usually I just measure from rail to rail, subtract 1 inch. I think that's pretty standard, and that's usually what I do. Now, here's a little trick when you're trying to measure the drawer width. Take 2 pieces of the material you're making the drawer sides with and measure to the other drawer slide. This will give you the length of the front and back of the drawer. Now, I've drawn out my box just so you can see and have a visual, but we have 2 sides at 22 inches, and the total width of my drawer will be 20 inches. Now, the reason I said measure like we did earlier is so we now know that our front and back will be 18 and 9/16. And we get that measurement from subtracting the sides. And once again, I always make a cut list to the side so I know all my parts will be accounted for. And we'll measure for the bottom panel after we put the drawer together. Once we have our pieces cut to width on the table saw, we can move over to the miter saw and cut them to their final length. Helpful tip, don't forget to open your blast gate. My God, I think I breathed in 20 pounds of dust. But anyway, we got our pieces cut to size, and now we can move on. Now this step is optional, but me, I'm a visual guy. I like to definitely put my pieces down and kind of get them in the right orientation and measure and make sure everything is going to be the right size before I glue it and put it all together. And as you can see with the thumbs up, we're good to go. Now this step is also optional. If you're just building some shop cabinets, you don't care how they look, then you don't have to do any kind of edge banding. But for me, this is going to be in the kitchen, and I'm going to do some edge banding, and I'll also round the edges over, and everything will look great. Alright, moving right along, next thing we want to do is cut grooves in all of our pieces. Now I'm going to be using 1/4 inch birch plywood, so I want to make my groove 1/4 inch wide by 3/8 of an inch deep, and we want to offset it from the bottom of the drawer 1/2 inch. And that's what I'm doing in this clip, just using setup blocks and making sure I got everything lined up where it needs to be. And because I'm lazy and don't want to switch to a dado stack, I will have to run these pieces twice to make sure I can get the 1/4 inch groove that I need. Now it's best to just kind of sneak up on this, that way you can get a tight fit for the bottom panel, but not too tight. And now that we have the grooves cut, we need to take the front and the back and drill some pocket holes. Now you don't have to use a pocket hole machine like this. You can use the regular pocket jigs that Craig makes. They work just as good, but I have the Foreman, so I'm going to use it. Now some people tend to drill 3 and 4 pocket holes on each end, but I don't really see the need in it, so I typically just do 2, and I've never had an issue. Now to me, it makes a lot more sense to sand this thing before we put it together. That way when it's all put together and we're trying to sand inside the drawer and we can't do it, we're frustrated. So yeah, I definitely recommend sanding before you put the drawer together. Now, I'm man enough to admit I messed up right here. What I should have done was cut out this bottom piece right here so we can slide the panel in from the back. Now if you haven't touched your table saw, you should be able to go right over there, raise the blade, and cut off that back piece. Now that we have that hiccup out the way, we can keep moving forward and start assembling our cabinet drawer box. I like to put it up on parallel clamps, makes it a little bit easier. Put a little bit of wood glue on the front and the back, and then you can just wedge it in between your sides, tighten it down, run your screws, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And then we just got to measure for the bottom panel. We'll cut that next, and we just keep moving forward. Because that's what we do. We're fighters, we're warriors, we are woodworkers, and we enjoy making sawdust. And what do you know? My God, look at that beautiful cabinet drawer box. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now that we have the outside of our cabinet drawer put together, we need to measure for the bottom panel, just like I said a few seconds ago. And just make sure you add the 3/8 to both sides and then the 3/8 to the back. But now I usually like to take about a 1/16 of an inch off of that because it just kind of helps with alignment and fitment. You're not running everything so tight, you're frustrated. First off, I just want to apologize for how long those 2 clips were. I was supposed to speed those up, but I guess somewhere it got lost and I didn't. So I hope you enjoyed just watching me cut on my table saw very slowly. But as you see here, panel slides in just like it should. A little bit of persuasion in the front and it should, yep, drop right down into place. And everything's starting to look just like it should. And look at that. We got ourselves a drawer box. Now before you start putting this thing together completely, you need to make sure everything is good and square. Now here you can use brad nails if you would like to just attach the bottom, but I usually like to run screws. Just feel like it adds a little bit more strength to it and I don't have to worry about possibly somebody putting something in it and, you know, the nail popping out and then I gotta go back and fix it. And yeah, just use a few screws and I think you'll find that's just a little bit better. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for, installing the drawer. If you're going to be installing multiple drawers or you have future plans to keep installing drawers, I highly recommend you pick a set of these up. They're probably $30, $35. You can get them at any big box store, but they make installing drawers so much easier. They have these little tabs on them that help you get everything lined up where it needs to be. and then you just put a clamp on there and you're pretty much good to go at that point. Just make sure everything's good and move on to the next side. Well, we're almost at the finish line. We're getting so close. Just hang tight. I promise we're almost done. But anyway, now that we got that done, we want to go ahead and grab our drawer box and go ahead and pull our slides out to our drawer box. And the next thing we'll go ahead and do is get this thing screwed in, and woo, we're going to have a working drawer, boys and girls. I know I got some of them out there watching this channel. I see you. I do. And with the drawer in place, we can go ahead and see here that we've got 3 options to put our screw. Really doesn't matter. I usually use the first spot, but you want to make sure the slide is flush with the front of your drawer. And once you get that flush, we can go ahead and run a screw on each side, and then we'll pull it out and run another screw towards the back. God, I'm so sorry. I did it again. I made you watch that full clip. I didn't speed it up, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. It's there. It's there for the taking. Just take it all in, and I don't know, it's just me screwing in some screws, but hey, we did it. Cabinet drawer box complete. All the sweat, all the blood, all the sleepless nights, it all paid off for this moment. Enjoy it. All the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, hey. Well, we did it. We built a drawer box. Hopefully you followed along in this video. Maybe you learned some tips and tricks, or maybe you had some questions answered in this video if you were trying to build a drawer box yourself. And now all you got to do is just install it into your cabinet, and shoot, you're good to go. You're a pretty much certified drawer master. But other than that, hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, hit that like button. You might as well go ahead and subscribe to the channel, because I got plenty of videos coming out this year that I think every one of you guys are going to like. So you might as well go ahead and smash that subscribe button while you're at it. And until then, I'll see you guys on the next build. See ya. Bye.